with direction and guidance. Lord, let your presence be known to each one. Bless our new mayor, and may your hand of guidance be upon him. Help him to continually trust you and acknowledge you in all he does. Help him to see clearly the things he needs to see. Help him to hear your voice as you direct his path. Give him divine wisdom and insight into this city. Lord, you know each and every problem before it ever arises. So give him revelation like you gave Elisha in 2 Kings 6, who you revealed inside information about everything the enemy was plotting, so that Mayor Salomon can know how to plan and know what to do. Lord, bless our new city council members as well as those who continue to serve. May you also keep your hand upon them and give them a spirit of wisdom and understanding. Help them to do the right things. Help them as they have a spirit of discernment and a spirit of compassion, a spirit of truth. May our government function with integrity in a way that blesses all of our citizens. Lord, bless all of our law enforcement officers and our firefighters. Keep them safe. Give them wisdom and discernment. Bless all of our first responders and help them to be able to do their jobs with excellence. Lord, keep them safe and give them health, strength, wisdom, and discernment. Bless our school board and our administrators, our teachers who teach our children and our young people. May they influence our students in ways that are pleasing to you and cause them to live healthy, productive lives that benefit others. Lord, bless the business community. May our business community thrive. May our economy thrive and be blessed by God. Lord, bless the churches and the charitable organizations of this city, and may they be a blessing to our people and meet the needs that are there before us and make big impact for good in this city with a message of the gospel and with hope and peace. God bless this city with love, joy, hope, peace, courage, and creativity. Help us to be a shining example of what a city dedicated to God really looks like. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next up, we move to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
All right, got a motion by Roberts and a second by Evans. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is adopted. We're now going to item number 1. And before we start, Alderman Roberts.
Yes, I want to make a motion to table this since the presenter isn't here.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Roberts and a second by Stroman to table this item. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next up, we're going to move to general public comment. This is a time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the council on any issue not on the agenda. Action will not be taken at the meeting on any issue not on the agenda except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of the council members present. And you have a 3-minute time limit. We have a couple of speakers requesting to speak this evening. So just as a heads up, we have 3 lights right up here. The red light is obviously means stop. Green light means go. Yellow light means you have 30 seconds to go. First, we're going to hear from Doris, is it Lowering? Doris Lowering from the South Dakota Stock Growers Association. Welcome, Doris.
Thank you. Congratulations, Mayor and new council members. I'm Doris Lowing, the Executive Director of South Dakota Stock Growers. I have been here and have visited with our council on numerous occasions regarding the parking lot, which will be coming back to you, I'm sure. While it's a concern for myself and the tenants of my building, neighbors, that we will be losing 60 parking spaces, my bigger concern is the integrity of our building. We ask that each and every one of you fully understand the effect that this is going to have on us. Please consider the comparability of the new structures and what it's going to look like and how close it sits to ours. Following the rules of setback of preserving the integrity of historic buildings to avoid primary elevations of coverage, which would be namely our sign. The sign is one of the 5 most recognizable signs by the Smithsonian. Think of it with a 3 or 4 story building just to the east of me. No other construction should be sitting too close to avoid obscuring damage or disrupting character, defining the features of our building, which is going to be the windows on the east side. The South Dakota Stock Growers is requesting 2 things from this council: to have the compassion to look and grandfather from our revocable non-build easement to a non-revocable, allowing that 10-foot leeway at no charge. Also, to grandfather in the feet of stairway that is existing on your city ground. That was built in 1956 at the direction of the city, of your forefathers, for our fire escape. And if anything was going to be done, we should have bought it in 1956, not in 2023. So I would ask that you consider these and take into consideration that the South Dakota Stock Growers has been and is the oldest and largest cattle organization. We started in 1893. Our relationship with the city in this spot has been since 1955. Please honor that, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Dane Sensor.
My name's Dane Sensor, and I want to say a little something before I start here, if I maybe get a couple extra seconds. I am the co-founder and vice president for Californians for Missing Children, 5 years in California, past. I'm also 20 years victims' right advocate. I'm also the founder and co-founder of Epic Flag Events, where we brought the world's largest American flag to South Dakota, and also an ordained minister. And in 1964, what happened to me, I was violated. But what happened outside here today by one of your council members, what he said to me was worse than that violation. The slander, the degrading, the humiliation, what one of your council members said to me, I want to make it very clear, I do not pick up excrement in front of your building, okay? I don't know, I might look like it, but I do not pick up excrement in front of your building. Let's make that very clear. I came here tonight, I was going to do a presentation, but because of the bureaucracy, I just said, well, I'll just stick it to three minutes. I came from California to get out of California because of things like SB 14 right now, child trafficking. They want to do a bill to present to the Congress there, the legislative, that would make it child trafficking life in prison. Do you know the Democrats said no? I wanted to get away from it, and I came here. I thought we had a good governor. She's taking property rights now away. This will be the first and last time I ever talk in public comment here, and I'm moving out of this state because of what I experienced here tonight, and plus of the governor. I don't want to live in a state like this, and I've been fighting. I went and saw the Sound of Freedom. I wanted to come and talk about it because I've been very involved in this. I was 5 years. Okay, and do you know that 80% of pedophiles are also homosexual men? We do Pride Month here in Rapid City for a month, but we have Veterans Day and Memorial Day one day. They spend thousands of dollars in this city on banners. Rapid City versus racism and Pride Month. How much do those banners cost? I don't see one day for child trafficking here. I don't even see a banner. I don't see nothing, nothing. You think it's not here? There's 2 nonprofit organizations that deal with it here. I wanted to deal with it. I wanted to encourage people to go see the Sound of Freedom. But I get met with a question today, am I picking up excrement? How disgusting, shameful. Is this the people you have running your city? I'm in just disbelief tonight. Do you know that in 1991, Arizona Republic, ACLU wanted NAMBLA to make child pedophilia a nonprofit organization? You know what their slogan was in 1998 when I was California for Missing Children? 6 before 8 is great. That was their motto. Stuff like this should be happening. I don't know what to say other than, I don't know.
Mr. Censor, thank you. You're past your time,
Yeah.
but thank you. I think you got your point.
One more thing I want to say. If this was, I'm going to take a line from the movie. If this was any of your sons or daughters or grandsons or grandkids, and this child trafficking was happening, what would you do?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. That concludes our general public comment time. Now we are entering into non-public hearing items 2 through 31, and we will open public comment for items 2 through 29. I don't believe I have any forms, so we will close public comment and move to consent items 2 through 29. Would the council like to remove any items or vote on the remaining consent items as presented? Okay, we got Councilman Pettigrew.
I would like to have discussion on item 24, please.
Item 24.
Thank
Okay. Any other items to be removed? Okay, with that, I would welcome a motion for the remaining balance of the items. Okay, we got a motion by Lehman and a second by Evans. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We will now move to item 24. Item LF 071223-01, approved to authorize staff to advertise a request for proposals to conduct an update to the city's adopted 2014 comprehensive plan. And we will go to Councilor Pettigrew.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I understand this is just a request for proposals, and we're not voting on any monies being dispersed or accepted tonight. But I would just like at some point in time someone to make me understand, help me understand why we need to hire outside consultants for a comprehensive plan. One of my council members has tried to explain that to me, and I guess I got a thick head. It hasn't sunk in yet. But I believe we have smart engineers, we have smart planning people, we have smart people at Elevate. We have people that are extremely involved in the arts, and I've read this comprehensive plan many times, and it just appears to me the city does a lot of consulting work, hires a lot of these things out, and I just believe our local engineers, city planners, arts people have the expertise. Consultants are going to just ask these people the same questions that they have answers to, and I just don't understand why we have to spend whatever the sum is. If you've read it, they haven't put a dollar amount on there, and I'm involved in another committee, and they're going to be bringing forth a RFP or whatever it is. I don't know all the acronyms yet. That could cost $100,000, and that's a small piece of the pie, and I don't know, this could cost $500,000, who knows? But I just think we should slow down putting everything out for consultation or consultants, because I think we have the people in our staff that can do this, and who knows better than the people of Rapid City how we want our city to look and grow and become. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we'll go to Councilor Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I don't think Mr. Pettigrew's head is that thick. I was the person he talked to about this, and in many cases I agree with him. I think some of our studies should be done in-house. I think our local people have the better expertise for this, and I think we would probably get a better study in many cases. However, in this particular case, this is such a gigantic thing and such an overall plan that involves virtually every aspect of the city going forward. And there are actually firms that do this exclusively. And I think because of the scale, we need to trust an outside source to coordinate all that. And I'm sure they'll incorporate our input along the way. So as you know, in the past, I've been a big proponent of bringing some of these back in-house. But this particular one, it's critical that we hire the experts that do this as a regular feature of their work. So thank you.
All right. Thank you. Next up, go to Councilor Stroman.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to say I think that Councilman Pettigrew raises a good point. We do have lots of capable people in our city government and in our city employment. that at least could give us kind of a precursor, perhaps, or that we could know what we're looking for, maybe provide a lot of the answers even before we hire a consultant to tell us things that we already know, because we're the ones that are, our staff and our people here are the ones that are doing the day-to-day development and decision-making. So I just agree with Rod that we should, take a hard look at this before we start hiring some of these consulting contracts out. I yield. Thank you.
Thank you. Looks like we got Community Development Director Vicki Fisher chiming in. Ms. Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the vote of confidence, and certainly we do a lot of in-house studies when it's within scope of our department. You're going to see us bringing forward some ordinance amendments that are going to require extensive research, reaching out to stakeholders, working with the community. But when we're thinking of the comprehensive plan for the city, this is not only including the 12 departments that the city has under its jurisdiction, the airport, parks, fire, police, but it also stretches out to many other of our stakeholders in our community. The downtown group, the retirement community, those that are moving here that have affordable housing needs. The scope of that is so entailing, we do not have the staff available to commit that amount of time. Now, that's not to say that we turn this loose with a consultant and we're not an active member of the ongoing study as it is happening in real time, because that's not the case. We partner with them. But the research team that they bring to town that looks at our community, analyzes our goals and values as adopted by the recent comprehensive plan, they come with expertise that we don't have. This is what they do around the nation for many, many communities. We don't want to lose the opportunity in Rapid City to have that same caliber look at our city. We deserve to have that high-level review. And because of the scope of the project, we don't have staff with those many hours of available time that could bring someone forward on a timely manner. Now, remind you, this is the RFP, the request for proposal. We'll put this out, and already we sent the RFP out to many, many stakeholders throughout the community. Every council member, county commissioner, planning commission members, Visit Rapid City, Elevate, West Hills Boulevard Group, School of Mines, and the list goes on, just to make sure the RFP didn't miss anything. Now that we've got all those comments included, we'll release it out. Those bids will come back. You will make the final decision as to who we pick, and the scope of the services that they will provide us will be included in that proposal. And we will be detailed in that presentation to you so that you know that you're helping us pick the best firm possible to provide this service to the city. So even though sincerely support the vote of confidence, this one is a big lift and we just don't have the staff to do it.
Thank you. Would I have a motion? Got a motion to approve by Evans and a second by Councilor Sechrist. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Moving on to non-consent items, items 30 through 31. We'll open public comments for items 30 through 31, but I don't have any speaker request forms, so we will close public comment and move on to item 30. An introduction and first reading of ordinance number 6577, an ordinance to require a majority vote for election to the officers of mayor and alderman by adding section 1.16.030 to chapter 1.16 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. And the recommendation was to send to council without recommendation. All right, we will go to Councilman Roberts.
I want to make a motion to approve and then hold the floor for a couple comments.
Got a motion by Roberts, second by Lehman. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much. I've got to talk about this a little bit because I feel vindicated for a change, hopefully, if this passes tonight. Because in 2019, I was the only person to vote against the ordinance that this is replacing. So I hope that the council members up here will pass this unanimously, but if not, I hope it passes. You know, one of my concerns in 2019 that I brought up was exactly what happened in the last election. I'm glad that Mayor Solomon brought this forward. I was concerned at that time about somebody winning with 25, 30%. You won with 32%, so congratulations, Mr. Solomon. But, you know, I think that the voters deserve more. We have very low turnouts in our elections to begin with. And then when you have 5 people, 6 people, 7 people, who knows what it could be in the future, deleting those votes down, I really don't see it as being the will of the people. And you know, one of the things that I spoke about in 2019 was that, that because of the fact we have such low elections and so many people don't want to be involved in their own government anymore, which is pathetic. But, it was funny listening to the people that were talking about the reason why we needed to do this. We needed to save money, and I don't think saving money on elections is where we should be saving money. I think there's other places that we can do it. But the other things were people saying how difficult it is to run a runoff, and how it's taxing mentally, and how it's this and how it's that. Elections are supposed to be stressful. Democracy, if you look at the millions of people that have put their lives on the line for what we have in this country, I don't think that it should be easy. So anyway, I just want to say I really pray that this passes tonight, because I think this is what we need in Rapid City. Thank you.
Thank you. And next up, we go to Councilor Stroman.
Thank you, Mayor. May I address the city attorney?
Yes, please.
Joel, when we discussed this at the Legal and Finance meeting last week, you pointed out some reasons why it would probably be best in your judgment to approve this as is, rather than trying to modify it or making different rules for the mayor as we have for council people. And I wonder if you would just share some of that so that people who did not see or hear that discussion could hear what you have to say about that.
All right, we'll go to City Attorney Director Landine.
Thank you, Mayor. When I look at the statute, it really appears to be an all or nothing. It doesn't, it says the default is that the person receiving the majority votes is elected unless the city adopts an ordinance requiring a runoff, and it doesn't. That's basically all it says. So what I've told some people is the law school, if this were a law school final, my answer would be that you either have runoffs for all municipal elections or none of them. There is an argument to be made that you could treat alderman or mayor differently, but it's less clear. If there was language in there that said, hey, you can adopt a runoff and establish rules for it, then I think you would have more discretion. That being said, and this goes back to us not being a home rule city. If we were a home rule city, I would probably have a different answer. But because we're not, we have to look for the specific authority for anything we do. We have specific authority to have a runoff election. It just doesn't really specify how much discretion we have in implementing that runoff election, whereas other statutes give us more discretion in how we do it. That being said, there are things that we are allowed to do. It's not like everything we do in operating a municipal water or sewer utility is spelled out in statute. We are allowed to make some rules and make some differences. It's just a question of how much risk you want to take. And I guess what I want you to understand is if you were to go down the road to amend it or try to have different rules for alderman or mayor, the risk level is higher than if you just adopted runoffs across the board. I can't necessarily quantify the amount of risk. I don't know that it's a high degree of risk, but there is more risk if you alter and have different rules for the different elections than if you just have it across the board.
Thank you, Joel. with that explanation, I just wanted, we did have some discussion about, could we make it different or should we make it different? And I guess I'm satisfied with city attorney's explanation, and I believe that we should go forward with the proposed ordinance as is, for all of the reasons stated by Councilman Roberts, and just for efficiency. I think it is good government to do this. So I'll be in favor of this. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you. Next up, we go to Councilman Ham.
Thank you. I looked at this for quite some time, and I was in favor of this prior to the election. There's a state law that disallowed us from doing this prior to the last vote. And I think one of the major tenets was that the cost would be decreased, and as evidenced by the mayoral election, I think there will be some increased likelihood of recounts that may or may not negate the cost savings. So I'm also in favor on all the accounts that have already been discussed. I yield. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So we have a motion on the floor to approve. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to public hearing items, items 32 through 34, we will open public comment, and I have no speaker request form, so we will close public hearing items 32 through 34 on public comment. And now we will hear public hearing items on the consent items 32 through 34. Would any of the council members like to remove any items from the consent agenda or pass you the remaining balance? What did oh, pardon me? Before we do that, we missed 31. Rookie mistake. So we'll backtrack. Item 31, a request from Long Branch Civil Engineering, Inc. for SKY Properties, LLC for a preliminary subdivision plan for proposed lots A and lots 1 through 4 of Zion subdivision, generally described as being located west of the current terminus of Ranchester Street, and the recommendations to approve with stipulations.
Move to approve with stipulations.
Got a motion by Roberts to approve with stipulations, second by Maher. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we will go to public hearing items 32 through 34, and open public comment once again. Public comment is now closed. We move to consent items, public hearing items 32 through 34. Any council would like to remove any items or
Motion to approve them all.
approve them all? Well, we went backwards. All right. We're going to give that motion to Evans, and a second by Roberts. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now that ends the consent public hearing calendar. Now we are going to non-consent public hearing items. There's nothing there, so we're going to go straight to the bill list at item 35. For that, we're going to go to Finance Director Daniel Ainsley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. The total bills are $11,444,939.03.
Move to approve.
Motion by Roberts, second by Stroman. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Got a motion by Ham to adjourn. Second by Maher. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Thank you.
So when's our first meeting? I can't remember.
It's this week, I think.
Tuesday, I think it is.